Generations. Every generation thinks they are right. Every generation thinks the generation before them or after them are all wrong and stupid. And they always like to justify themselves to think they are right. But no generation is perfect. Every generation has their issues. And you should not seek perfection. So today we are going to look at the problems with each generation. I was at work today and I was feeling a little inspired because, when you're in a work environment, you work with people of all ages. And I every generation has their own beliefs, their own morals, and they tend to think that I'm talking about the older generations, tend to think that Gen Z is all wrong, all stupid, all lazy, like no one wants to work anymore. And if you really think about it, that saying has been around for decades. I can't think what decades. I can't think of the century. No, decades. That saying, no one wants to work anymore, has been around for centuries. All right. So I found this article. It's the cons of each generation. Oh, and I wanted to look at it today and just talk about how. And I wrote some notes down. Oh God, what is this? What is this? And I actually did research for this, by the way, which is shocking. I know. I just wrote down things I hate about each generation. So first we have the greatest generation, born from 1911 to 1924. We're not going to really talk about them because they're dead, most of them. So moving on. Go away. But the thing about every generation is I'll get to really the main issue I have with specifically spoilers, baby boomers or Gen Xers. They're two different generations, but really just those two really fuck me and really fucking piss me off. But next we have the silent generation, and that's that's people born in between World War II, and they kind of just did their thing. And they were silent among most things. And next, I'm kind of just rushing because I'm going to talk about this for a while. The fucking baby fucking boomers. The baby boomers piss me off. And I'll talk about why in a second. It's not just because it's they're so mean. Oh. No. I have my reasons. Baby boomers were born from 1946 to 1964. The generation was alive during the famous Woodstock, Vietnam War, Civil Rights Movement, movies in color, and the Beatles. Many of my generation's parents were baby boomers. One con about this generation is that they ranked lowest when it came to being adaptable and collaborative, according to Business Insider. The generation doubled the divorce rate. Oh, interesting. So talking about baby boomers. Let's talk about baby boomers for a second. Right, so I have coworkers who are baby boomers, or I can only assume. And, the thing, the pattern that I've noticed with baby boomers is they tend to not understand the importance of mental health. That's my biggest issue. That is my biggest issue with baby boomers. We'll get to Gen Xers in a second. Don't you fucking worry. I don't even know do any Gen Xers watch my videos? I don't think so. But the thing about baby boomers is that they just don't seem to understand mental health in any way. Because for example, I'm gonna keep going back to work because I can go off all fucking day. For example, I was at work and I called into work one time because I woke up and I had a panic attack. I was having a panic attack and I was like, "Hey, can't come into work today. Sorry. Not feeling great." And that was it. And I called in. I got so much fucking shit for that. But people People can drink all they want. People can smoke all they want at my work, which is really fucked up. But I get shit. I get shit because I was having a panic attack. And for anyone who's ever had a panic attack, knows how fucking awful they are. Knows how awful they are. Knows how fucking... It's the fact that, like, the baby boomer... And I'm not talking about just work. I'm just talking about general. Baby boomers just don't seem to understand the importance of mental health, the importance of self-care. You know, a lot of them say, like, oh, no one wants to work anymore. No one wants to work anymore. But that's just not true. It's just, like... That's just not... you know, I haven't done, like, a lot of my... What? Wait. Why am I wearing... Why am I wearing headphones? I don't need to wear headphones. Oh, God. I was wearing... Why am I wearing headphones? But, like... Because I am a big proponent of taking care of your mental health, taking care of yourself, prioritizing your own well-being, your own mental health, aside from everything else. And a lot of people from this generation seem to, like, you know, and here's the thing with baby boomers. Let's look at baby boomers. Baby boomers, mental health. I guarantee you something will come up. Yeah, so right here it says in general, baby boomers take a skeptical approach toward mental health as well as mental health treatment. Many boomers place a higher priority on being self-sufficient. Therefore, seeking treatment for mental illness is often viewed as a personal or moral failure. It just... Because, like, I'm, you know... It just seems that... And like, to put a silver lining on this, like, mental health is... There isn't as much of a... there's still definitely a stigma surrounding it. You know, surrounding, like, prioritizing your own well-being, and, like, it's not selfish. It's not selfish, but a lot of this generation, at least from my experience, tend to think it's selfish. And it's not just this generation. I've experienced it in all generations, really. I guess it just depends on where you grew up from. It's like, even in, like, to get a little personal, it's like I grew up in a family that, like, didn't, like, didn't, like, care about mental health, and didn't care about, like, I always used to view mental health as, like, something that it was just like, you just gotta pick yourself back up and get back to it. But it's like, no, it's like, I'm really not okay, and I'm really struggling, and I shouldn't have to just pick myself back up. You know, it's okay to not be okay. And I feel like that's something this generation just doesn't understand. I feel like it's a lot of, like, the older generations, and obviously there's problems with Gen Z, and I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to my issues with Gen Z, and Gen Alpha. But it's like, it's just like the idea of like, I don't know. It's just like, and it's especially among men, especially among, like, young men. Young men are, like, taught to, like, bottle up those feelings, like, to be tough, to, like, to always, like, to never show emotion, to never show, like, fear, or, like, to always be, like, the tough one, the alpha. And it's like, even I as someone who's not, like, a very masculine person, and someone who's always been pretty sensitive and emotional, it's like, I still struggle to, like, talk about my emotions. And that's why, like, I definitely have struggled with, like, anger issues in the past, and, like, it's something I'm working through. But I think that's, like, the problem with, like, young men are, like, struggle to talk about their mental health, because there is this stigma surrounding, like, getting, like, just, like, talking about your feelings. That's the thing with therapy, is, like, there's nothing, therapy's not just for, like, broken people, or like, oh God, like, oh, therapy. Therapy is literally just a place to, like, talk about your feelings with. And I'm not like too like familiar with therapy, but I've done a lot of like, I know enough about therapy where it's like, oh no, therapy is literally just a safe space to talk about your feelings. It's not this thing to be ashamed of, but like how I grew up, and I think how a lot of people grew up is like, you were taught to like kind of just like kind of just pick yourself back up by your bootstraps and like keep going, keep pushing forward no matter what. And it's like, well, no, it's like, and you're seen as weak. You're seen as like selfish if you like am like if you're like, no, like I'm not doing okay and I need to like, I want to take care of myself. And it's like you're seen as selfish a lot. I realize I've like learned as I've gotten older is like a lot of the older generation is like, oh, these kids these days don't want to work anymore. And it's like, well, no, because they're just smarter, and like they're not perfect, but like saying that like, oh, you kids have it so easy these days. Everybody, and I'm gonna speak in a southern accent because of course, like the accent master over here, but but it's like it's not that they don't want to work. It's that like they're just like they're smarter now. This generation's just smarter now, and they're not gonna take shit and just be like. And that's the problem I have because I'm a people pleaser, and I'm always like trying to please everybody, and I'm like, oh god, I don't know how to put myself first. That's something I struggle with. But it's like this generation is just like, it's not that they're lazy and they don't want to work. It's just like they're smarter now, and they're not gonna take shit from their shitty boss and be like they're gonna be like, no, like the way you're treating me is like disrespectful, and like it's just that was kind of a rant. Yeah, but moving on to Gen X, the pinnacle. Gen X there we go. Oh, Gen X consists of people born from 1965 to 1976. The first thing, the definition: the generation born after baby boomers, often perceived to be disaffected and directionless. Some characteristics of this generation are: they reject rules, mistrust institutions, and are individualistic, even more than baby boomers. Members of Gen X dislike authority and rigid work environments. I mean, I guess the problem I have with Gen X, because that's like when a lot of Gen Z's parents were born. It's kind of similar to like baby boomers, I guess. Is like it's just this stigma surrounding. It's just like this. It's just, I think a lot of the older generations, and I hate saying this, like older, like, oh, I hate generalizing terms in terms of like generations. I know that's annoying, but it's like, man, it shouldn't just be like, life is just not about just like working hard and like, no, it's like you can do anything you want in life. You can, and people hear that and they're like, oh, he's so sweet, and it's like, I'm not. It's like there's just so many more opportunities now where it's like, it's not just like, it is how it is. I think, I don't know, it just feels like some people are just so stubborn and stuck in their ways. They're not willing to see like the other perspective. And I'm the same with Gen Z, of course. But it's just like, oh, man, just like, I just get annoyed because it's like just like, oh my god, like just be willing to like just be willing to be a little bit more open-minded, and you're not always right, you're not always wrong. Like, be willing to see both sides of like be willing to see both perspectives, and not just be like so stubborn and think you're right, and think that like all these other generations are stupid. I don't know. It's just bothering. It's just something that kind of bothered me. It's like it just bothers me. It just bothers me. It just bothers me a lot. Now moving on to Gen Gen Y and Z, really? All right, I'm just gonna call it Gen Z. We expect results right away, and we may come across as rude. Sometimes things are handed us too easily. True. But yeah, Gen Z. The thing I hate about Gen Z, is I'm not a fan of social media, even though like I'm posting on social media. I guess YouTube is considered social media, but I just can't. It's it's the it's really just the social media that bothers me with Gen Z. Yeah, it's like the constant just like, and maybe, and I know this is all generate. I'm not trying to like just be like, oh, this is how Gen Z is, but I think a lot of like it's another petty thing that I dislike about Gen Z is like I keep hearing all these new terms. And like I'm a part of Gen Z, and it's like I keep hearing all these new terms and all these like new phrases, and I'm like, what the fuck? Where did these come from? Where the fuck did these come from? What happened to like talking to each other and like connecting with one another and just like having a normal conversation instead of being like W Riz, L Riz, it's like we're speaking in code, and I'm like, oh, what the hell are we doing here? What the hell are we doing here? I don't know. How's your day going? How's your day going? Not like, W Riz, what can I say? Renegade. Oh my god, I sound old as fuck right now. But I do like Gen Z. I will say I do like Gen Z. Gen Z is very smart, and Gen Z is very I like how, I'm not saying everybody, but there are definitely people who in Gen Z who are that I went to school with that I fucking hate. But I feel like there's a lot of good things to take out of Gen Z. I'm just speaking from my experience, from my perspective. But I feel like Gen Z is, I feel like the stigma, for me, it's always about mental health. It's always about, my big thing is like mental health. And like, there's always been this stigma surrounding mental health. And that's kind of the point I keep going back to, is just because, you see depression rates rising. You see suicide rates rising. And it's like, a lot of it's the older generations that fucked us up. Not saying it's all their fault, but it's like, there is still this stigma surrounding mental health that I get annoyed with, because it's getting better. It's getting better, I think. And that's what I like to take out of it. That's what I try to take out of it. Obviously, I have a lot of issues with Gen Z still, but no generation is perfect. No generation is like, every generation is going to say things that are like, things they hate about the generation, like, kids these days have it so easy. When I was a kid, I'm gonna be saying that one day. When I was a kid, I had to eat dirt. I had to eat dirt. I ate dirt. I had no meals. You just get meals handed to you. I had to eat fucking dirt. Fucking dirt. I just feel like doing that accent. But it's just like, I don't know. Oh, Gen Alpha. Holy shit. That is a fucking... I first heard this. Let's look this up. Gen Alpha. I saw a video about Gen Alpha recently, and it blew my mind. Here we go. 11 things you need to know about Gen Alpha. Meet Generation Alpha. How their lives will be different than previous generations. Generation Alpha. For alphas, it's oh wait. For alphas, like for alphas, it's a way of life. Oh shit. Are we betas compared to these fools? Oh shit. They have a digital presence before they're even born. And when they're older, they'll have multiple online identities. True. Their schools will be made more digitally savvy, and their skills will be, they'll be extremely comfortable. Ooh, that's true. They'll be extremely comfortable with the art of AI. Oh boy. They'll use yep. So yeah, a lot of this is like. So yeah, a lot of Gen Alpha is technology based, which is expected. Every generation the technology advances. But why is it called Gen Alpha? That's wild to me. Gen Alpha kids can't read. Oh, wow. Wow. I just love the name Gen Alpha, honestly. But I saw this video. If we go on YouTube, I saw this video on Gen Alpha that just blew my mind. I'm sure you've seen it by now if you're familiar with like the internet and stuff. It's been, I mean, if I saw it, I feel like a lot of people saw it. Where is it? Yeah, here we go.
What are your thoughts on millennials?
I mean,
Here we go.
Guys, look, I'm a Gen.
What are your thoughts on millennials?
I mean, it's pretty fire. I wish I could go back and meet some of my ancestors.
What?
The drip wasn't as good,
What does drip mean?
like style. Yeah, like if you see me right now, you say a drippy, right?
If you want to call somebody cool, what would you say? Like,
Probably like mad lit on God or something.
God.
what? Mad lit on God?
Yeah, or like
G-O-D?
yeah.
Yeah,
mad
no,
lit
it's
on
it's
God, on
it's
God, no
ridiculous.
cap.
I don't know
Mad
if
lit
this was
on God.
scripted or if this was like I don't know, but like it oh, that was so cringe. And I try not to pay attention to that shit cuz it just a lot of it is probably scripted and just like not real and it's just for the views. Oh, but man, that was like, if that's how Gen Alpha kids talk, but like that's the thing is like every generation, it's like every generation has their own like slang, I guess. But yeah, Gen Alpha very technology based. They're just turning into their teen years, so it's like it's gonna be interesting to see how they evolve as humans. But yeah, that's it for me. This video literally just came to mind today while I was at work. But yeah, hopefully you found this kind of interesting. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.